Happy Halloween, Flosstube! I'm Michelle from Michelle's Romantic Tangle, and I know it's only been a few days since my last video, but the camera was giving me trouble, and some things I meant to get included in that last video didn't happen, and I also wanted to talk a little more about the Dimension SAL. So, to start with, I had some, as I've been digging through my sewing room and organizing, I found the finished objects of Halloween past, so I thought it would be fun to share those with you. This one is Spooky Row. I need to figure out how I want to finish this one because I love it. You know, looking at this, I think I even stitched this baby in Fancy Floss. I don't do that. Didn't do that. This is Witches, Cats, and a Flying Broom. Pumpkins glow in the full bright moon. I should know who the designer is. I don't. Apologies. If I figure it out, I'll put it in the comment section. I should also know the name and designer of this one, but I have been seeing it on Flosstube so much that I don't remember it, but everybody else already knows. And again, this one is Fancy Floss. I did more Fancy Floss and linen than I remember doing. This one is Just Nan. I might have showed this in a previous Flosstube video. Not Halloween, but it's all nice and autumny, and I remember buying the fabric. I don't remember stitching this, guys. I mean, it's mine. I know I did it. My stuff was packed away for, 15 years, so I don't feel concerned about the lapses in memory. Something big happened this morning. If you'll remember, back in August, I held out one of my oldest UFOs, Stonehearth Hutch, and this morning I finished not all of the back stitching the pattern calls for, all the back stitching that I'm going to do. I don't like back stitching. And the way it was written on the pattern was really accent the barely visible tree between the two left chimneys. I don't even know what that means, so I don't care. I did the back stitching around the windows. I did the stonework. Here, I'll see if I can zoom in close. I think I did the back stitching that was important to make it what it should be. This sat for 15 years, packed away, 3/4 of the way done, and it feels good to have it done. I'm shocked that I have it done. At the same time, I don't like it. Of all the house charts in my stash, this is not the one I would pick to have done, but it's done, and I'm going to find it a frame, and yay me. Or yay finishes, or yay something. We stopped in at the thrift store this week, and somebody donated all their Aida. I have a lot of Aida, but I don't have Aida in colors, and I don't know if I need Aida in colors. But it was 79 cents a package, so I went through and picked out everything that wasn't white. And it came home with me, and I don't need more fabric. I need to remind myself I don't need more fabric, but when it's this cheap, I'm not going to feel guilty. Other thing, I have an odd Halloween story to share with you. My husband works nights, and it is very rare that he calls me from work. Sometimes he'll call and say, hey, will I pick up Chinese for dinner or something, but it's not usual that he calls me from work. Last week, about 10:30 at night, my phone rang, and I picked it up, and it was my husband, and he wanted to know if I had been checking my voicemail lately. And his tone of voice, something was wrong, and kind of scared me a little, so I told him, yeah, I've checked, nobody's been calling me. Then he asked if I had been getting any calls from anyone I shouldn't be getting calls from. There's no one without really stretching that I shouldn't be getting calls from. And if one of those stretching people called me, it wouldn't be, I'd hang up on him. It wouldn't be a big deal. He had turned on his phone. He keeps it off while he's at work. And the system popped up and said he had a voicemail from my grandmother. Grandma's been dead almost 3 years. It spooked him. And I used to, on my phone, get voicemails all the time that had been kicking around the system for months. So the assumption was that it's maybe something she left back then, but she never called my husband. I doubt she ever left my husband a voicemail. And of course he didn't listen to the voicemail message before he called me. So I spent the entire night knowing that it was not some spooky Twilight Zone call from behind the grave, hoping that maybe it was a voicemail, but it would make sense for him to have a voicemail from her. I couldn't think of any reason why my husband would have had a voicemail message from my grandmother, because he's not a phone person, unless maybe it was from several years ago when they were conspiring about a replacement for my damaged wedding ring. And of course he finished his dinner break and turned off his phone for the night, and it was morning before I found out what the voicemail message had been. And my 18-year-old son and I were up late into the night coming up with just the craziest Twilight Zone scenarios possible, because we knew it wasn't anything spooky or supernatural. But it was still weird. And my husband was spooked when he called me. So I found out in the morning he had listened to the message, and apparently Grandma wanted to know that there were no problems with our credit card accounts and we were eligible to refinance at a super wonderful low rate. And I hate those companies. I have hated those companies with a passion for a very long time. But this is a whole new level of they should not be able to do that. Even though I know that beyond it being an automated system, there's no way they could have known, if it was a person, what they were doing. So that's our spooky, creepy Halloween story for the year. And I guess if there's someone you are going to be spooked if you get a call from, maybe you shouldn't have their number in the phone so the name pops up. Although I would have recognized the phone number if it had popped up on my phone, so someone needs to put a stop to those calls. And so, check my notes so I don't leave anything out of this video. The other thing I want to talk to you about is the Dimension SAL that Amy from Amityville and I are hosting together. I used to, when I very first started stitching, I had a preschooler and a 1-year-old, and we lived 4 blocks from Michael's. This is why I love Dimensions kits so much. Every afternoon, to get them to settle down for a nap, they would go in the stroller, and I would walk down to Michael's and browse the cross-stitch aisle and look at the kits and think about what I might stitch next. I really didn't buy very many kits then because we were broke. But it provided so much entertainment and fun walking the aisle looking at those kits. And there's something about Dimensions and the subject matter and their type of kits that they do. I like them. I like them a lot. Not all of them, but in general I like them. And over the years I have amassed more of their kits than I thought I had. Not as many of the gold collection, but just a whole bunch of everything else. So I filmed those in a separate little video, and I'll plug it in here. I was trying to avoid the glare, but I don't think it worked very well. Best I can do, sorry about that. I'm going to try to do this with as little glare as possible, but I have tried several different rooms and several different light arrangements, and this is the best we can do. So first of all, I wanted to give you a look at, this is all as calm how it was when I bought it. That is the little glimpse of the tree that I got. I don't know what it was in my brain that said, this is a Dimensions Gold Collection chart. Somehow I was right. I'm kind of proud of myself for that. I did see the trees and the deer, and I figured if it had trees and a deer, odds were good it would be something I'd like, and it was $2, so it came home with me. This one, along with Southwest Mesa, are the two charts I plan on starting for the Dimension SAL. So we'll go through the rest of my collection. This is Max in the Adirondacks. I don't remember buying this kit. The tag on it is from Shepherd's Bush, which is a long way from home, so quite obviously I did buy this kit on one of our visits there. And seeing what it's going for on eBay right now, I'm very, very glad I did. This one is Frederick the Literate. This is the second time I have had this kit. The first time I messed it up badly. It was before I learned to grid my fabric. I don't know if that attempt is around here somewhere or if I threw it away. I usually don't throw things away, but after seeing Amy's Stephen King adapted version, I wanted to stitch this again. So I am starting over from scratch, and it's an affordable kit, so that's okay. This is Peaceful Countryside by Charles Wysocki. No idea where I got it. It was secondhand, and it's got a little bit of stitching that I'm going to pick out. This one is from the Hobby Lobby clearance. It's Village Canal. Here's a Christmas present I got this year. It is Cozy Cove. It's another Charles Wysocki design. I love, love, love Charles Wysocki and his houses and villages, and they just make my heart go pity-pat. This one is Leaves of Autumn. It's from a craft store near our place that went out of business when I very first started stitching. This is one I got for Christmas last year. It's one of the Gold Collection Petites called Quiet Night. Another Gold Collections Petites toy shop. I'm trying to do these in some sort of order. Gold Collections Petites Bayside Cottage. Morning Lake. I did a couple of these smaller ones last year, and they were manageable for getting my feet wet again. This one is called The Wave. I found it at a thrift shop last year. Someone had gone through and apparently purged her stash. This is Amish Breezy Day. It's another thrift shop find. It's got a tag for $6 from Value Village. I do not remember buying this. This one's needlepoint, so I suppose that's cheating. More needlepoint. Spring Camp. I have been hauling this one around for 15, 18 years and did not realize until I was reorganizing my kits a few months ago. It's needlepoint, not cross stitch, but it's gorgeous, and I will figure that out. This is Regal Rooster, another thrift shop find. Most of my Dimensions collection was cobbled together from clearance and thrift shops. Wildflower Trio, that's another one of last year's Christmas presents. And The Night to Remember. My oldest son went through a Titanic phase, and that would have been when I picked this up. I want to stitch it. I'm going to stitch it. That says Michael's clearance. That doesn't match up with my memories of that one. Got another little crewel kit. I was bouncing up and down when I found this crewel kit for 99 cents at a thrift store last year. And it's another Wysocki Houses. I want to start this bow so bad. And the stitching doesn't look that hard. I'm just terrified when it comes to positioning the houses in the right place. Then last summer, I think I've talked about the estate sale that I went to and saw that they had. Their Craigslist ad had a box. The box said $2 each on the front, and I could see a corner of what I knew was a cross-stitch chart. So we jumped in the car and we went. And then we went grocery shopping and we went back and she had all of her cross-stitch kits marked down to $2 each. So I went through and got all the counted cross-stitch, left the embellished stuff for someone else. I don't know if I want to stitch wizards or not, but I decided that it was better to bring them home and give them a good place in my stash than it was to leave them and have buyer's remorse. So that is all of my dimensions kits. I cobbled this together. The two that I will be using for the SAL, and I am hopefully going to do two because I can't make up my mind, are Southwest Mesa and All Is Calm. I change my mind about every 37 seconds, and when I'm changing my mind regarding stash I already own, I don't see that as a problem at all. So don't be surprised if when November 15 rolls around and the SAL starts, I'm working on a different chart. It's what I do. And this is going to be an open-ended SAL because even the little ones take a lot of hours. So Amy and I aren't racing to get this done. We don't expect you to race to get this done. I'm finished one of the petite gold collections last year, and it was doable. I had fun. The bigger kits terrify me. I want to do them so badly, but I am so afraid that I'm going to mess it up, and I don't know why. I mean, I finished this thing, and it had issues. Or I thought it had issues, but once I got stitching, I couldn't find the issues I thought that there were. Thank you as always for watching, and if the dimensions kits make your heart go pitty-pat the way that they do mine, I hope that you'll consider stitching along with Amy and I. I will be back probably in a couple of weeks with another video. I'll see you soon.